everybody. Ooh. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Thank you so much, ReactJS Girls, and thank you so much, Skyscanner, for having me this evening. My talk will be about blogs. Ignore that talk title, that was like under pressure, and that's bad. But my name is Anna. I'm a front-end developer at ReactJS, and I should blog more, but I can't because my cat is usually on the way. Just that's exactly what's happening. But you can find me on most social media under that handle, but most importantly, on my blog. So, this is not my first blog. In fact, I began this journey over 10 years ago when I was very privileged. I got a computer at a too young age with internet, and I thought the internet must know about me. So I've created plenty of blogs in my life. And this is screenshots from Wayback Machine because I remember the very different URLs I've had before, which I did not add because it's cringe. And it's been 10 years since, so I'm like, I've come a long way. But I would say that this is indeed my blogging online timeline. It started around 2004, fun times, freewebs.com, JLCDs, Blogspot, you know, the usual. I began to poke around and I was like, oh, I just want more stuff. And I found out about PHP. I found out about cute news, Coppermint galleries, hosting my own forums about my favorite bands, hosting WordPress. I had so many fan sites, it was really bizarre and creepy. But obviously, something has happened. My timeline went a bit distorted, and that's the truth. I got my first job in tech, and things just really stopped being fun, and I deleted everything. It's back there in 2012 when I deleted everything. Now in 2018, I'm able to process why, but I generally felt like I was the only junior developer. Everybody around me knew what they were doing, what to use and stuff, and I was just having fun on the internet. Because of that, I started to ignore my interests in order to fit in with the rest. I would blog about anything, but that just didn't feel okay or accepted. And I started to feel guilty for having fun in my free time, and this is a true story. Once I told someone that I was going to play with something in particular, and that person told me, you should read a JavaScript book. And because of that, I punished myself because I just couldn't keep up with the tech world, whatever that was. That in my mind, everybody was good and I was bad. So being invisible was indeed the safest option. But this is what happened to me. But blogs did stop existing for a while, so not stop, but went downwards. So what happened around me? Social media. Social media is an amazing place to find peers and what the community is talking about. In fact, we wouldn't be here tonight if it weren't for social media. And it was quick and easy to set up. Anybody could turn up, create a thing, and a blog, not a blog, but a gallery with their photos from their holidays, talk, comments were there, all the features that you wanted was there. But most importantly, people were there. You didn't have to subscribe to feeds anymore, you could subscribe to people. Every time you posted something, you could easily comment on your friends, or your friends will comment on yours, and it's not like you're giving your XML feed to your parents or your grandparents, they'll add you on Facebook. So that became the reality. So when social media replaced the blog or self-hosted content, I just felt like this instant mobile short sharing gave me the fake impression that my peers were constantly reading tech content, which is funny because when you write a blog post, you actually take some time to think about it. You take probably a day or two or more or a month like me. But everyone can grab their phone and tweet their latest thought on CSS in JavaScript. And sharing became intimidating because it could be blown out of proportion really quickly. God forbid that you tweet the wrong thing, because they'll drag you and retweet you and shade tweet and all that. And when you're somebody like me who's already like in a weird dark place, this all cooks down and it's not healthy. So I started to feel as well that I wasn't allowed to ever miss out on a day of social media. If I went on holidays, I couldn't find that content anymore. The content would disappear, and if you tweeted anything that was like really like revolutionary, it's gone. Gone. Not searchable, I cannot find it. So this is what happened to me. It was a mixture of toxic people, perception of success via social media, pressure to learn constantly, fear of missing out, and I just removed myself. So I started to feel like this. I was literally this me. I was like, I just wish when everything was like back in the old day with my blogs, my fan sites, my wild experiments, and everything was so much fun. I felt I was very alone in that ranting. But thanks to social media, I did start to see people who thought a bit like me. This great tweet from Sarah Drazan, it's a great tweet because they agree with me. I miss fan pages for things like hippos. I wish that I didn't feel like the web was collapsing into just a few sites plus 1,000 resumes. I found even more. Love this one. Good one. Don't put threads because they're terrible, unusable, unreadable mess. Put that thing in your blog. I absolutely agree. In fact, I do find a very good blog post by Patrick. The links are at the bottom, which says, your Twitter thread should be a blog post because I want to bookmark it, print it, share it, especially with people who are not on Twitter. I was like, that's a very good point. It's quite gatekeeping, isn't it? It's like, if I was already feeling stressed while I was on social media, imagine the people that don't even choose to have social media. They cannot see that content anymore. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I agree. We should blog more and we can have both. They're not mutually exclusive. But why am I not, right? I found this good tweet. I regularly get messages from people who are afraid to publish their own technical blog because they're afraid to be judged or think people will say it's useless because it's nothing innovative or elite. Like, yes, we all have been there. I've been there. So I clicked through this, ironically in the thread, that I could relate to. Seriously, no one goes from noob to elite just like that. Try things out, make your experiences, document your progress, share it with others, get feedback, improve, and continue. So why did I keep telling myself this sort of stuff? I'm embarrassed of my content, I'm shy, I don't like my content, and especially, I would say this stuff about when I wanted to share stuff about my holidays or a recipe or photos or anything not tech related. But I didn't think this stuff when I read blog posts from my colleagues, from tech people that were the same thing. In fact, I was like, I'm curious about this. This is good, I'll memorize this for myself. Somebody told us somehow that it's not okay to share about anything else other than tech. And you're way more than your job title. You're a full-on person with many hobbies. But that's one challenge. Everyone already knows this. And I'm very guilty of this one because, for example, when a very popular framework came out, nobody was talking about it, but I was poking it, and I found many things I didn't know how to do it. I could have I could have written about my discoveries, but I was so afraid that I was the only one who didn't know about it. So afraid of becoming a meme on the internet, being retweeted by a famous developer or something. So I started thinking, okay, what is the worst case scenario? This is what happens in my daily life. I open 1,000 tabs when I don't know something. If I don't know something, I close that tab. If it's not what I'm looking for, I was like, that's not what I'm looking for, and I close it. Nobody is going to say, I already knew that. Nobody is coming to taunt you because you wrote about something that they already knew. It's just not realistic, but it's really hard inside our minds because we are trained, at least some of us, to think of the worst case scenario and think there is a real possibility, when realistically they'll just close your blog in less than 3 seconds. Assuming that you're all convinced, where do I begin? Now, the community is here for you, so you're not alone. I wouldn't be here so confidently, I think, talking about it, had it not been for certain communities or groups of people that I found along the way, especially the indie web. I also recently found about the hashtag New Year, which is an hashtag that every year a couple of developers talk about rebuilding their website from scratch, or renewing their portfolio, renewing their blog, and stuff like that. Or if you do have technical difficulties, just go to a cold bar workshop. There'll be plenty of people willing to help you sort it out. And next, when you're in the right mind, let's find the best tech or medium for you. And this is important. Nobody cares. Literally, I don't care what you build your blog with. If you put like an HTML with an unsorted list that links to a page, that's amazing. But I'm going to talk about the static site generators that are out there currently. And the only time that I'll ever inspect anyone's code is because they did something amazing that I don't know how to do. That's it. Nobody cares how you built your blog. Nobody has time to inspect your code. But please don't inspect mine, because that's as in like, boy, I've done things there, so please don't. I found this great site, staticgen.com. It has like, you've probably seen a couple of these famous words on Twitter, ugo.io, checkout. This is, I don't know how to do screenshots that scroll, is like really hard. So it's just like, this is a blurry, bland screenshot. But we're in ReactJS Girls, so let's talk about Gatsby. Gatsby became really popular recently, I think, because a lot of people are using it because it uses React on the background. I'm going to do a very poor explanation of it because I'm very nervous. But everyone was having a lot of people were talking about it, so I thought I'm going to have a look and see what it has for me, for what I want. And I was like, ooh, hello, Gatsby starter blog, because most people don't think that using React to create their own blog is the way to go. It's not. But I thought this was really interesting. I was like, okay, I'm going to poke with this. So bear in mind, I understand how hard it is to see code on talks. So I'm going to give you a very helicopter view that it doesn't even go to the air. It's just like very high level. But I did clone it, and because I have a bit of experience, I could figure it out. I know how to install it and run it, which is fine. That some people just don't know, which is absolutely fine. It has a learning curve, like anything Node. This is not a real screenshot. This is like 2 images composed. Eventually, I ran it on my local host, and I could see the Gatsby starter blog does come up with 3 blog posts as an example. And this is how the tree view looks like. I was like, okay, I've worked with React before, not currently, so I could recognize how it was working. I figured it out that everything inside the pages folder did match the titles over there. So I was like, I'm going to poke it and just write a fake post and see if I'm right in my intuition. Obviously, I didn't go to the docs because I'm poking it, but you should go through the docs as I did afterwards. But I thought that as a starter place for somebody who just wanted to get something running locally, it was absolutely fine. And then I was like, okay, let me see what else is out there. So, because I was familiar with Markdown, I figured out that this was how I would, and also looking at the other posts, like you can use the title, date, and write your blog post, and that's fine. It renders, it compiles. And then I dug in through the templates, what makes the blog post render, and that's when I saw the big thing that makes people love the GraphQL, the Gatsby.js bit, which is the GraphQL thing. I'm not going to explain this because I don't want to bore you all, but there's a lot of magic happening here. Which is, once you dig in, it is quite straightforward. And I thought, great, out of the box, I installed the thing, I added stuff. If I go up and edit components, change the bio, change the layout a little bit, I get what I want, which is a blog. And then at the end, if you read through the deployment prompts, it does generate a static blog thing. But static site generators don't offer the what you see is what you get. So this is great if you're a developer. if you're working on a team and more people need to use it, it's normal, they don't know that they have to change every markdown and deploy it and then do all the webhook stuff, blah, 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 blah. So the community started to embrace headless CMS recently. Out of my head, there'll be Contentful, which a lot of people use with Gatsby, or if you use Jekyll or Yugo, a lot of people use Forestry. And that's the big difference between stuff like Drupal and WordPress, which are all server-side, all in one place, is that stuff like headless CMSs and other static site generators, you can pick up the boxes that you prefer, the components you prefer, and plug them all, and it generates a thing for you, especially a static thing, which makes the performance way faster than a server-side one. But I don't want to bore you, but I definitely don't want to bore you with all of this. So when I poked this Gatsby.js thing, I thought this is amazing because I don't use React on my job very often. So I thought it was amazing to practice and learn certain skills like the GraphQL one. If you want to feel fancy, create a Contentful account and you can use to create your API and plug it on your Gatsby.js site. They have plenty of documentation to do that, and it's really, really useful. And I thought it was portable, easy to migrate, and all the advantages from static sites. There is a learning curve. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. It's not easy. Somebody who's just learned or is just being introduced to program in general it will not be as straightforward as I made it sound, which is absolutely fine. I still think it's worth it to have it a go, only for the sake of I have free time to learn the skill, and a blog is somewhere that I don't have pressure to do so. It's not like in a job that you have to learn that skill really fast. If you work on it on your background, it's good. So, assuming that you figure out what the tech you want to use is, don't overthink your content either. And this is about you, this is not about anything else. So if you want to do today I learned, travel, cooking, jobs, thoughts, retrospective experiences, just photos, anything is valid. And I read this really good blog post from Sarah Sweden called Just Write, which is, if you don't have a blog already, make one, write, publish, share. You'll never know how many doors once my article might open for you. So blogging solidifies what you've learned, gives you a voice, empowers you, and a bonus, it's searchable. If your Twitter account gets deleted, if Twitter shuts down, everything you've ever written there is lost forever, not on your blog. And memories that you own, because you'll make memories that you own and are in control of. And this is an important note for me. You don't have to have a blog or have social media to be considered great at your job. This is not my point. I wanted to do this talk so that people who felt shy like myself feel that there's more people who think like you and it's okay to share. So back to this. Slowly, it wasn't from one day to another, but slowly the line started to go up. So in 2014, I re-began my blog again, very, very slowly, and I'm trying to be better at it. But that meant that I had to leave toxic jobs and people and follow kind people and find my crowd in this tech world. But it was reading and seeing what everybody else was, because there were still people sharing, but it was those people that made me realize they are humans like myself, that they're not code or design machines, that they design, that they travel, that they cook, that they had their hobbies, their fears, and their thoughts. And that really helped me, because reading about how relatable all of you are keeps the community actually going, and it stops the culture of overwork and it fosters empathy. So thank you.